Welcome back to For the Home Cook. Of course, this show we are trying to save money on those grocery bills as our budgets get a little bit tighter, things get more expensive. Now, one of the things I know that a lot of us are going to spend a lot of money on each year is coffee. I don't know about you, sometimes I'll make it at home, it just doesn't taste good, and I'm like, I need to go out to that one place that's going to make me a great cup of coffee, but you're also going to pay some money for that. So today we are exploring making coffee at home, and I could not do this alone because I am not that knowledgeable. So I've got my good friend here, Angel. He is one of our digital producers doing all sorts of things on our website. This is kind of your wheelhouse though. You have stuff.
I did bring a lot of stuff here today. The ones that we're going to focus on are mainly sort of the pour-over methods, some infusion methods. Really, we're going to look at taking those drinks you would buy at any of our local drive-up shops and make it at home.
Now, of course, like I said, you have stuff, so this isn't something that you're just like, okay, I'll just make a cup at home. What is it that you love about making coffee at home and kind of exploring in some different methods?
So what I love is that there's kind of a therapy to it. There's a zen to it. Waking up in the morning and really putting your mind to, I'm going to first start with making a cup of coffee at home. Sounds simple. To really bring out some of the flavors we want, it's going to require a few more steps than it would take to brew a drip cup of coffee, which is fine. Coffee pot, pour in your grounds, press the on switch, but we're going to focus more on the minutia of it. Mind if I get started?
Absolutely, let's start.
So the first we're going to look at is the Hario V60. There is a bit of a cost to getting into home coffee, but we're looking to save money in the long run.
Of course.
There are two types. I brought a ceramic Hario V60.
Okay.
And the plastic one. We're going to use the plastic one today. It is the cheapest one.
Okay.
But it's also the one best for home brewing.
Okay.
It's the best for thermal retention. So you're going to get a faster cup and a nice bold cup out of it.
I was going to say the faster the better, because I think in the morning that's maybe a thing that we're like, okay, well, I don't have time to make coffee, but I can grab something on the way. So if we can make it a little bit faster, but make it better than we're going to get somewhere else, that's the key.
A little faster, a little better. You're looking at the triangle method of do you want fast or do you want good?
Yeah.
We're going to look at good and methodical.
Okay, how does it work?
First of all, we are looking at 18 grams of whole coffee. We want whole ground. We want to grind it at home. Economically, it'll save you more money grinding at home. Buying whole bean, it's also more flavorful.
Okay.
So for our V60, we are going to do a light roasted coffee. Let's get that set here.
Perfect.
All right, in the grinder here, I already started grinding this, but we have 15 grams of coffee. Let me just finish grinding this.
And you seem to have the light roast. Now, I like light roast because I heard that it's got more caffeine, but is there a reason why you like light roast maybe above a dark roast or a medium roast?
So light roast, you're going to get more fruit flavors.
Okay.
You're going to get more acid. Few undertones of chocolate. Once you start moving up in the roast, medium, darker roast, that's where you get chocolate and caramel.
Okay.
So in the morning, I like those fruit flavors.
Okay. And once again, we talk about a grinder. This is going to cost you up front, but down the road, especially whenever you're looking at buying whole bean versus ground, you're going to save a few dollars every time that you get coffee. No matter what type of coffee that you get, you're probably going to save a few bucks getting the whole bean. And like Angel said, it's going to taste better to actually grind them yourself. And you grind just enough for the coffee that you need, right? You're not going to do the whole bag at one time.
Yes. So per the morning, I will grind that morning's coffee.
Okay.
I am grinding enough here for 1 cup.
Okay.
There is a 2-cup method for this.
Perfect.
This method comes courtesy of James Hoffman on YouTube. This is his method. He spent a lot of time developing this method.
Yeah. I think for those of us who maybe go the easy way, we have a machine at home and it kind of works out. We forget that there is an art to coffee until you have good coffee. And then you figure out that maybe I wasn't doing it the same way and I'm not making it as good as it could be. So I love that we're learning about some different ways that we can do that.
Okay, so we have our coffee here. You're looking for a grind size that's close to sort of coarser than sugar.
Okay.
You're looking for something that'd be more fine than what you would get in a pre-ground bag.
Okay.
For the Hario, we want a good sort of sugar to flour mix.
Okay.
So
I mean,
here
that even smells good.
we're gonna make a divot here in the middle,
Okay.
and I preheated the coffee. Make sure that our scale is set to 0 there. So to our 15 grams of coffee, we're going to do 250 grams of water.
Okay.
If you're looking to make 2 cups, 30 grams to 500.
Yeah.
The method is a bit different for a 2 cup. So we're going to focus on the 1 cup version here.
Okay. Do you just do boiling water? I know some people are kind of weird about the temperature of their water and it has to be X amount for it to be perfect, but you're just like pour some boiling water in there, you're good.
Yes. So
Okay.
if you want to spend more on a temperature controlled kettle, go right ahead.
Yeah.
But for today, I'm just going to boil our full pot of water, and I'm just going to take it off the boil for maybe 20 seconds.
Okay.
Let it boil, and then just take it off boil.
Perfect. Listen, I love, this has been an ask for like Christmas or birthdays or like any of those things where you get a gift. Go ahead and ask for somebody to get you a really good kettle. Those in the long run can be so beneficial, not just for coffee. Like sometimes if I need hot water for anything, it's easier for me to just put the kettle on and do it in a minute or a minute and a half than wait to the water to get heated up in the sink or something like that, put it in a pot, any of those things. So a good investment if you don't have one of these at home.
Specifically the gooseneck variety, this will give you the most control whenever you're
Okay.
pouring, whenever you're making your pour over.
Okay, perfect.
All right, so our kettle is just boiled. I'm going to pull it off very carefully. Wait till it stops boiling vigorously.
Yeah.
And then we are going to start with our first phase. Our first phase is going to be 50 grams of water.
Okay.
We're going to start our timer, and we are going to pour in about 45 grams.
Okay.
Give or take. It does not have to be precise. Sorry, I meant 50 grams
Okay.
for 45 seconds. And then we're just going to give it a shake very carefully.
Perfect.
So our first phase here, we're going to let the coffee bloom.
Okay.
We're going to allow those grounds to swell. This is going to make our extraction over these next 3 minutes. You're going to notice a different in the cup.
Okay.
In the flavor profile if you skip this step.
Okay. And are you getting kind of 3 different distinct flavors of coffee when you do that? Because I assume that we're going to get kind of a flavor right here. And then when we put in the second one, it's going to get more water and bloom it just a little bit more. And then that third time, it's probably going to get the most blooming of the coffee. So do you see that you get, like if I took the coffee right now, it'd probably taste different now than it did here in a few minutes or here in 5 minutes?
Absolutely. This first pour is probably going to be very acidic.
Yeah.
It's going to be the fastest to go through. You're going to find more acid, but also a very weak cup.
Okay.
So we want to make sure that our process is.
So we're at about 1:30 and we're going up to.
We're going up to 150 now. This is
Okay.
our third pour.
Perfect.
We want a total of, I believe it is going to be 5 pulses of 10 seconds, or every 10 seconds.
Okay.
So we're up to 150. We're going to give it another 10 seconds. My timing might be a bit off, but I believe we have a graphic up that shows you your actual times.
Absolutely. And we'll have this below. So if you're watching the video and you're like, wait a minute, what did they say? Below, Angel has put together such a great spreadsheet of all of the information. So if you don't get it here, you can look below and we'll explain all of this.
So up to 200 milligrams, and then at 220 here, I'm going to give it its last dose of 50, up
Perfect.
to 250. And just being very slow.
And I like that you're going all the way around because you're getting those grounds that may be there on the outside. So you're making sure that every single ground that you have in there is getting some water and getting a brew.
So that does multiple things. Depending on your height, how you pour, you're mixing up those grounds that are otherwise stuck, trapped on the bottom.
Okay.
You're mixing it. Our final little stir here is going to achieve the same result. And then we're just going to let this finish brewing.
And so if you're looking at this and you're like, okay, I want it to go a little faster, just resist that urge because you really want the greatness that you're getting out of this coffee. So you wouldn't just take a spoon and start acting crazy with it.
If you start stirring it now, you might clog up your filter.
Okay.
You're looking for a brew time for this method about 3 to 4 minutes.
Okay.
If it's taking longer than that, your grind might be too fine.
Okay.
You might have clogged your filter paper by either stirring it too vigorously. And then this method is just sort of finding the setting on your grinder that gives you the flavor that you enjoy
Okay.
with that time of 3 to 4 minutes for brew.
Absolutely. I think in the grand scheme of things, if you're just going to take a little bit of extra time, you're going to get such a better cup than maybe a traditional method or going out and paying money for that. I feel like this is a coffee that you can drink just as is because you're going to get a really quality coffee and you're not going to have to throw a bunch of sugar and stuff in there to kind of mask a bad coffee taste.
Absolutely. You're going to find, depending on your coffee, you might find that it's a little sweeter than something you would find in from a standard drip coffee pot.
Yeah.
And that's just from your method of brewing, your bean roast, and also grinding fresh beans.
Yeah. I think we miss out on some of those subtleties of a good cup.
Yes, and as you can see, my time here, I was a bit off on time, but also I might have ground too fine.
Okay.
Or the paper might have been clogged. But either way, this is a very tolerant recipe. Mm-hmm. You'll find that even with some things might go wrong or off, it's still going to taste great. It'll still taste better than what you'll find in drip coffee.
Yeah. And it's going to, I mean, you're not going to do it on the first try. I'm sure the first time you did this, it didn't come out perfect either. So you keep practicing, you keep doing, you make the mistakes, but you're still going to have a great cup of coffee down the road.
No, I've been grinding, making my own coffee at home for years now, and I still make mistakes.
That's all right.
Absolutely. So I'm just going to take this off here.
All right, so we're about 5 minutes into that brew, and now we have, and this is for one, right?
This is for one or two very small.
I love that you have
cups.
the little cups too.
Yes, if you
I'm
would
trying to get like the biggest cup in my kitchen, but I feel like I'm missing out on the small one here. Okay, that's a lot stronger than I thought it would be.
Yes,
love that.
this will brew a stronger cup.
I love that. Okay, so we've got a pour over method here. Let's talk about a cappuccino. I know that that's one. It's a very popular coffee people get outside of their home, and you're going to show us how to make it here.
Yes, so it's very easy to go out and buy a cappuccino because it seems unreasonable to buy an espresso machine for home.
Right.
They range from anywhere from the worst models for $200 up to thousands for good models. But we're going to make an espresso light drink using the AeroPress.
Okay.
The AeroPress does not make espresso. It makes very good espresso light drinks.
Okay.
So the method that I am going to show today, let me reset everything. I'm going to use what's called the inverted AeroPress method. This is not the manufacturer recommended method, so just be very careful. But this is how we're going to achieve our espresso with as little water as possible.
Okay.
And with as few beans as possible. And to achieve that, we want an espresso roasted bean, which is going to be a much darker bean.
Okay.
So what I have here is some beans that I ground just fresh earlier.
Perfect.
Save us some time here.
I was gonna say, I would hope everyone grounds them a few minutes before you're actually gonna make this. I think in your most desperate time, if you do it the night before, you're still gonna get a halfway decent cup of coffee. So maybe if you're watching this and you're like, well, I don't have that extra time to go ahead and ground coffee beans, maybe just do it the night before. You're not gonna perfect it as much as Angel has, but it might get you there. It's gonna still save you $5 or $6 every time you go out.
Would not call it perfected considering that I dropped a bunch of it.
Hey, that's all right.
We won't talk about that. So this is about 18 grams of ground dark roasted coffee, espresso roast.
Perfect.
And we are going to use 90 grams of water.
All right.
Our 90 grams of water will go directly into this cup. We already boiled our water, so just give it a bit more heat.
Does this one have a time process, or is it kind of a put it in there and then wait a few minutes and next step?
Much slower than espresso, but faster than leaving your house.
Absolutely.
So.
Well, the fact that you have to leave your house, you have to go, you know it's going to be busy. Even if you order ahead, it's going to be busy. Now you have to wait in line or wait in the store to pick up a coffee that may or may not be good. I don't know if you guys have had that where you go and you get the coffee that you know is going to be good and then it's not made right or it's just not hitting on that day, and then all of a sudden you don't like the coffee that you just spent $5 or $6 on.
So what I'm adding here is 90 grams of boiling hot water.
Okay. Very carefully.
We're going to stir that. If I find where I put my stirrer.
I'm like, I have a spoon and I have a butter knife, and
either of these are perfect. Thank you. We're going to vigorously stir that, again, being careful because this is not how the manufacturer wanted their device to be used. And we're going to start our timer. This is going to be 90 seconds.
Okay, so not that long. I love that.
No, not that long at all. In the world of espresso, it is a lifetime.
Yeah.
Espresso is made quickly. It's made fast. We're not making espresso. We are making an espresso-like drink, and it's going to be very delicious either way.
What else goes in a cappuccino if maybe somebody has not made that at home just yet?
Just milk, specifically steamed milk that's been frothed. Very steamed very hard. It's going to make a hard cover over your cappuccino. Best way to describe it, unfortunately. So let me rinse out this filter paper for our AeroPress.
And once again, like Angel talked about, this may be a cost up front, but it's going to help you down the road. So I know that they have milk frothers and they have milk steamers that you can get. Some of them range from very affordable to some more expensive ones, but there are various ways that you can steam your milk for a cappuccino.
Yes. Today we're not going to steam our milk. I'm going to show another method using something you might already have at home.
Okay, perfect.
So once our last 15 seconds are done, I'm going to begin by putting the cup directly over the AeroPress.
Okay.
And we are going to carefully flip this, again, being very gentle.
Right.
Now we're going to give it a swirl, letting those beans settle down.
Okay.
Make sure that you have your filter. Otherwise, this whole process is moot. It's just these little paper filters that you can get almost anywhere, online or at a store that sells a lot of coffee equipment. Perfect. So we're going to gently, with even pressure, press down into our cup.
I feel like a lot of people this is where they're going to get kind of impatient, but just make sure that you're doing it slowly, even pressure.
Yes, and you're going to press all the way down until you hear that bubbling hiss right there.
Okay, perfect.
That ensures that you have as much of this very strong coffee into your cup. Look, it even almost has a crema.
Oh, that's so cool. I feel like your cleanup process, you just basically did half of it right there. So I kind of love that.
Basically, yes. The AeroPress, known for cleaning itself. So if you could please put milk in this jar. This will be our steamed milk vessel.
Okay.
A little more. There we go, perfect. And we're just gonna take this and we're gonna microwave this right here for about 30 seconds starting.
And this is one of those you don't want to just put it in there and then forget. You want to definitely watch this.
Yes, again, this is another part of the be careful with this method.
Absolutely.
We're replacing the steam with vigorous agitation.
Okay.
We're going to achieve our milk froth with whole cream milk.
Okay.
You need something to create that bubble structure.
Got it.
And heat and just shaking it.
So if you use some alternative milks, you may not get the frothiness that you may get with a whole milk. You can. It's going to be a little different.
Yes, it will be different. You may find that you don't have the same structure, the same
Yeah.
froth. You don't want to heat it to where it's too hot to the touch,
Okay.
but you also need some heat in order for this method to work.
Absolutely. So not boiling, but definitely warm.
Not boiling, yes.
Okay.
With milk alternatives, you'll find more success with what they call barista milks.
Okay.
They're non-dairy milks that are specifically labeled barista milk, and they are made specifically for this process to make a non-dairy flat white cappuccino or latte.
Okay. Perfect.
All right, so let's make sure that this is not hot to the touch. If it is, please use a tea towel or
Yeah.
a kitchen towel. We're going to put our jar lid on, and we're going to shake this for about 30 seconds. Let's see. Oh, we're going to have a little bit of that. Oh, thank you so much.
Of course. So one of those, maybe do it over the sink.
Maybe do it over the sink. Maybe have what you need. If you find that that might be happening, you might just need to open it a bit, release some of that pressure,
Okay.
and then shake again.
Oh, see, that works.
Yes, thank you again. I promise that I will leave this studio spotless when I leave.
I feel like if you're not making a mess just a little bit, you're not doing it right. So
Oh, I don't know if the other producers would follow that logic.
probably not.
So let's see, about 30 seconds. See where we are, carefully opening, checking, shaking again.
And what are we looking for in terms of, I know we're looking for frothiness. Do we need most of it to be frothed, or are we looking for kind of a 70-30? What are we looking for in this jar?
For our cappuccino, you are looking for a very thick froth.
Okay.
Something then, yes, not sure, not as much as whipped cream, but not what you would expect from just milk.
Okay.
So once you have that, we are going to just gently
Carefully.
open this. Again, today is all about being careful.
Absolutely.
All right, we're going to make sure to break up any of those large bubbles.
Now, is this the point that if you have like fancy ways of doing this, you can make like shapes and stuff? Like, I'm not that cool, but I've seen people do that.
Yes, so with what we have achieved, if you're a skilled latte artist, you probably could make something. I am not that, but we're going to make something delicious either way. So let's pour this hard, and then once we get down here, we can begin layering our milk foam.
So you pour it right in the middle to begin with, and then you're going to kind of go to the side to get all of that
Yes.
milk foam.
Just to build our milk foam layer on top.
Perfect.
Apologies for my poor form,
That's all right.
but
I'm sure everyone at home is going to be doing this exact same thing because I am not an expert, but see, that is awesome. So we have all of that foam on top, a great cappuccino.
no latte art, but yes, it will be delicious and made with very cheap equipment.
Absolutely. And you can work on your latte art, like every third one, just see if you can do some latte art. That is so pretty.
Good way to practice before you go out and maybe splurge on an actual espresso machine.
Absolutely. Okay, we are going to take a break right quick, but we're going to come back. I know that this is probably going to be one that everyone wants to listen to if you are a cold coffee. We're about to get into like the winter time, so maybe not right now, but if you like cold coffee, let's take a break right quick. We'll come back in just a sec. Welcome back to For the Home Cook. My good friend Angel here is joining us. We're talking about coffee. So we've done some really pretty and some great pour over and a cappuccino and all of that. Now we're going to talk about some French pressed and some cold brew. So let's talk about the French press, because I think a lot of us see a French press and we're like, oh, that's for hot coffee. But you can even do cold coffee in that too.
Yes, the French press, very popular among coffee enthusiasts, makes a very rich, strong cup, makes an excellent cold brew, very easy cold brew. So what I have here is 1 cup of whole coffee that I ground fresh to 4 cups of water.
Okay.
I have been steeping this for close to 12 hours.
Okay.
If I could just get this revealed, it looks horribly ugly on top, but
That's okay.
that is how French press looks.
So you are putting all of this into the container. You're going to stir it up and then put it in the fridge. You said 12 to 24 hours is kind of where you're sitting.
12 to 24 hours. Any longer than that, and you might start to find more astringent flavors.
Okay.
Not the bitter flavor you think of with coffee, something more harsh.
Okay.
Which is why you're aiming for 12 to 24.
Okay, perfect.
So our cold brew here, I am going to just press down slowly to emulsify the coffee with those oils.
Do you need to stir this at any point in that 12 to 24 hours, or would you just leave it?
Yeah, the very first thing you do whenever you, before you place it in the fridge, is your one and only stir.
Okay.
Whenever you plunge the coffee, that's where you get your last mix.
Okay. And I told you I have another method for this. So this is what I have at my house, and it is not going to make as good a coffee as Angel has here. But you can find these. I got this on Amazon. I think it was like $11. And you can get a French press. It's probably going to be around, a cheap French press is going to be around that same one. But this method is kind of the same. So you would put your grounds in this filter right here. You would add your water, 1 cup of grounds for 4 cups, stir it, and then you would put this in the fridge for that 12 to 24 hours. The next day you take off this top, you would take out that filter, and then the important part that you're going to talk about is diluting your cold brew. I know people who don't do that.
You learn that the hard way.
Yeah.
But I'm here to teach you before you learn it the hard way.
I mean, if you want that strong of a cup of coffee, you should probably seek some medical help if you're trying to drink cold brew without it, being diluted.
In a single setting, I would say maybe half a cup diluted.
Okay.
It is a very potent brew. So if I could please get the chocolate syrup.
Absolutely.
I am just going to line our cup here.
And there are various different ones. So this one is obviously one of the cheaper ones. They have some that are specifically for coffee. They have like a thicker consistency, but at the end of the day, get what you can afford, and then you can use this for ice cream and coffee and all sorts of other things here.
Get some of our ice here.
And with cold brew, you can make some other, like if you wanted to make an iced cappuccino or an iced flat white, you would kind of use similar methods.
This will make you whatever drink you want. Blended iced coffee.
Okay.
Very easy. Just throw all these same ingredients into the blender, and you are good to go.
And you said half and half on this.
Yep. If you would like to top that off with milk.
Absolutely. So when you do half and half, do you have to use water, or can you do like we're doing right now?
Milk will absolutely dilute it for you.
Okay. I was like, somebody, maybe they're like, I spent all this time on coffee and now you're telling me to put water in it? You can still use milk.
Absolutely. Top it with whipped topping, little sprinkling of sweet chocolate powder. You have a drink that would otherwise cost you $5, made at home with some equipment that will cost you, but yes.
Well, I was going to say, so we filled this cup half up, and you can see how much we still have left. So this is going to get you probably, what, 2, 3, 4 of the, I mean, that's going to last you a long time with
more
cold
than that,
brew.
depending on the size you like your drink. This is absolutely concentrated coffee. This is coffee times 10.
So out of all of these methods, if I said you can only do one for the rest of your life, which one is your favorite when you're talking about coffee?
Hands down, the Hario pour over.
Yeah.
This is the method that I go to every morning, and It is how I like my morning brew.
If somebody is watching this and they go, okay, I don't know where to start. If I want to do the pour over, I'm starting there. Tell me a few of the things that they're going to need to buy up front. You know, you got that cost up front that's really going to help you down the road. What would you get as a first time coffee maker for that?
Very first things you want is a scale, digital readout scale.
Okay.
That will give you precise measurements for measuring out your coffee volume,
Okay.
your coffee weight. The Hario V60, the plastic one, the cheapest. Also, the one that I find makes a better tasting coffee. It's all by very minute steps, and the gooseneck kettle.
Okay.
This is how you get precise coffee pouring for the methods that I described.
And if we're going to the store and we're like, okay, I don't know where to start in terms of coffee because I get this brand or this type, talk to me about maybe what we're looking at here when we look at the whole bean in the light roast versus something that's maybe a medium or a dark roast. Where should we even start with that? Or is it just based on your preference?
Before you start looking at the brands of coffee, you first want to decide, do you like light roast? Do you like medium roast? Those are really the two that go well with the pour over method.
Okay.
You'll get the best flavors out of those. As you can see here, we have a store brand, a name brand that people probably recognize, and my personal favorite online micro roaster.
Okay.
But yes, no, just the first thing is whole bean, light or medium roast. And then you can branch out from there.
Absolutely. I feel like whenever you go to these smaller coffee companies that they might taste a little bit different because they're not making them in mass as you see with maybe some name brands. So if you are looking and maybe you find a smaller, place, or even I know that we have some places around here that brew their own coffee beans, maybe go in there and ask for their opinion, but definitely I feel like you're going to get a little bit of better taste on something that's maybe a micro or something local versus maybe something name brand. All right. Perfect. Angel, thank you so much for joining us today and for helping us out with this. Of course, we talk about on For the Home Cook, lowering that grocery bill as things start to get just a little bit more expensive. This can probably save you hundreds of dollars a year making your coffee at home instead of going out and paying, that $5 to $6 to $12 to whatever dollars that you're spending every time that you go get a cup of coffee. So Angel, we appreciate it.
No problem. Don't pour your grounds down the sink. Throw them all in the trash.
Perfect. Or put them in your rose bush.
That also works.
Yeah, we will put coffee in our rose bush. All right, Angel, thank you so much. We'll see you next time.